Thanks for being here. And thank you to the Resilient Hub for hosting this topic and this bunch of partners who have a really important discussion to bring to Climate COP this year. The title of today's event is Resilient Coastal Economies. And as you can see, there are a host of partners for the event, and we're really grateful that we can be. This is a really important, invisible topic at Climate COP. So as far as we're concerned, as long as coasts are being spoken about, it's making waves. So thank you very much. My name is Maria Honig. I lead the Coastal Communities Initiative for WWF. And I'll be moderating the session here today. And we have a wonderful list of amazing speakers representing countries from LAC, Africa, and the Pacific. And I myself am based in Italy, so we are really global, which is fantastic. And I'd like to start today's session with an opening from Monique Galvão, who's the Vice President of Rare Brazil, who will welcome us and frame the session for today. Monique.
Obrigada, Maria. Thank you, Maria. When you talk about resilience around the world, it's not just nature, right? It's development. And it's also about people. It's about well-being of people and communities and their economies. We need to find a way to preserve the nature, but also value the traditional ways of living. And the heart of in the Brazilian Amazon, by the way, you are in the Amazon coast where the Atlantic Ocean meet the forest, is the most continuous mangrove area in the world. We work with many partners. It's not just a rail work, it's really a mutirão. We involve universities, private sector, other NGOs, government in different levels, from local mayors to state level to federal level. And how to really address resilience is not one organization work, it's a collective action. But the heart of this resilience are the guardians of the mangrove in our case, right? Because, as we would like to say, it's really important to keep the forest green, but the bank accounts cannot be red. So it's not fair for them to be their bank account red, and as citizens, they need to focus on their well-being. And we need to find ways to balance resilience, development, sustainability, and economy. With the multi-level governance approach is what we call the mutirão, the collective action. I want you guys to practice how to say mutirão. It's like my last name, Galvão. The commitments that we are making here at COP, if doesn't reach the local level, is not going to have action. It's impossible to have action. And sometimes a global policy can take 20 years to really reach the ground. And we can see in this COP really implementation agenda. So I'm really looking forward to hear these stories from these inspired people all over around the globe. So thank you for the opportunity to open this panel. And that's it. Welcome to the 4th day of COP30. Thank you.
Super. Thank you, Monique. And in the spirit of togetherness and mutirão, which I hope I pronounced correctly, I would actually like, because we're a small group, I would like everyone in the room to come closer and sit in the first 3 rows, if that's okay, so we can really be engaged in this session. And also, because we're small, I would really like it if we could just talk to each other today, okay? We have a panel, but I want you to be able to, we have 2 parts to the session today. One part is for the panel to speak to us, to a few questions that I'll be raising, but then the second part of the session is for everyone to engage the panel with questions they have, which means that you have to be aware what they're discussing in the first part of the session. So let's get together and be nice and close. So, speaking to Monique's opening, we are all aware that we need to combine livelihoods that need to be equitable and just frameworks for climate adaptation mitigation, and considering nature and the role of nature in protecting people, but people protecting nature. So, but what does the panel today is going to offer us a bunch of solutions, which I'm really excited about because there are solutions out there. They're in every single continent on the planet. And today we have representation from 3 continents who can talk to those solutions. So I welcome all the panelists to come and sit up here, and I'll introduce you when they're seated and I can address the questions. So panelists, please join us. Yeah. So can you sit one down? All move one down? Yeah. Great. Perfect. Fantastic. Yeah, no problem. We have a translator, so great. So I'll be addressing each of the panel today with a question, starting with an introduction. And the first question goes to my kind friend Lavinia Yasikula Naivalu, who is the district representative for the Nakula District Development Committee and a representative of Oceania First Voices in the Asia Pacific. Lavinia, is the first female district representative in Nakula implementing community-driven solutions for issues like food security and disaster preparedness. So welcome, Lavinia, to the stage, and thank you very much for joining us here today. My question to you, how does local ecological knowledge in Fijian coastal communities strengthen both the livelihoods and the ecosystems your community depends on? And when you think about the future of Fiji's coastal economies, what gives you hope, and what kind of support from the global community would make the biggest difference?
Test. Vinaka Maria. In Nadula, traditional marine protected areas or tambo zones and rules set by chiefs and elders are central to protecting fisheries and coastal ecosystems. These measures are based on Vanua principles, respect for land, sea, and people, and ensure that harvesting aligns with nature's cycles. Fishing is not random. It follows specific roles and signs. For example, yararau, net made from coconut leaves, is used during major community obligations involving the whole community. It's a traditional method of fishing where the community closes one side of our traditional fishing ground from fishing for a period of time. Seasonal closure of our fishing ground and opens it for yararau fishing to provide seafood to feed the community and our visitors during a special occasion. During the yararau, we use fishing nets woven from the coconut leaves. In this practice, is very selective in terms of the type, size, and type of fish caught. Small fish and undersized fish can easily escape the coconut leaves net as compared to modern fishing nets, leading to sustainability of our fisheries resources. Women collect mussels such as the kaikoso and kainre during kawai season when species are mature. The kawai is a crop that grows on land, and when it matures, it signals to us that it's the best time to go and collect these mussels from the mudflats. And again, it demonstrates that we only fish for certain species during certain season and allowing them to grow and regenerate during other seasons. After Mbongiwalu, or 8 days of strong easterly winds, the calm seas signal The calm seas signal the best time for fishing. Balolo spawnings, a marine worm that appears on an annual basis and acts as a cyclone indicator. If the first netting of the Balolo worms are unclear or dirty, a storm is near. Just before I left my island to come here, the Balolo worms were spawning in Fiji, and it's a Fijian delicacy that we all enjoy. But we are also on high alert because Fiji is now entering to its cyclone season. Our forefathers also understand the strong connectivity between the land and sea resources, and that is something the governments can learn from us. How ecosystems-based adaptation, nature-based solutions from the grassroots level can help accelerate based adaptation, and nature-based solutions from the grassroots level can help accelerate climate action, merging the climate, ocean, nature, people's nexus. Imagine if climate change causes this important species to extinct and for us to lose this important science. We lose our traditional early warning systems. We lose our ability to tell when is the best time to go fishing and impact our food securities and many other things. Altered wind patterns and unpredictable spawning affect traditional timing. Coral bleaching and species migration threaten the web of life that these practices depend on. This erosion of predictability undermines traditional knowledge and cultural continuity. It's why, for us, separating the climate nature and oceans action is non-negotiable. These traditional systems ensure wise use of resources, preventing overfishing by respecting seasonal and ecological patterns. Hope lies in reviving traditional knowledge and blending it with science for adaptive measurement. Global community can help by, first of all, protect our rights to our lands, seas and resources, ensure we are included and actively contributing to management and decision-making processes that are important to us. And this includes in the COP30 decision that will be adopted here. We know best how to address our specific issues and local realities on the ground. We need you to listen to us and support us. The cost of ensuring we can recover from the many cyclones and climate hazards that we face is very high. The cost of ensuring our resilience is very high, but very little climate finance is coming in to support us vulnerable communities. I would like to see decision on climate finance that will allow us, indigenous and local communities, women and youths, to easily and directly access the much needed climate finance so that effectively protect our natural resources and biodiversity that will help you close the gap on mitigation and ensure our ability to adapt and be more resilient. It makes sense to increase investment in us, frontline communities, to match the scale of our efforts needed to address the climate and nature crisis. I thank all of you who are here to listen to our voices, and I challenge you to ensure that we are saying here is informing your intervention speeches in the negotiation rooms, and not just mention it, but fight for our issues in decision text. And that is what will give me hope. Vinaka Vakalevu, meaning thank you.
Thank you, Lavinia. Fantastically, very profound. And what I heard from what you were saying was that they have the strategies, there is the traditional knowledge. We're happy to blend it with the science in order to deliver the right interventions on the ground for climate, people, and nature. And you made a very strong synergy between those three, including the economy, which is really important. Finally, I think you made a very strong plea here at Climate COP. We have a lot of people who are speaking to these issues, but these interventions are yours, and they needed to be brought here in order to deliver the message directly to decision makers. And I absolutely love the example straight out of the water from you. Appreciate that very much. Thank you, Lavinia. Okay, to our next speaker. and I've already forgotten the name, so I'm going to say Henyuji. Welcome, Henyuji. And to you, my question, and first I would like to introduce Henyuji, and Henyuji, full name Piedade da Silva, who represents the district, the coordinator for the Mother of Mangroves Network, who we've all been calling Mom here in Climate COP. The Renilda, or Henyuji, is a woman and extrovert and community leader from the Amazon coast. She coordinates the Mother of Mangroves, which brings women across Para, Brazil, to promote sustainable livelihoods and protect mangrove ecosystems. I know that Mother of Mangroves has quite a large delegation here, so I'm very happy to see that. So my question to you, Henyuji, from your experience leading mangrove-based economy initiatives across more than 40 communities in Para, how have local leadership and women's stewardship led to protecting mangrove ecosystems while also strengthening sustainable livelihoods? And we have Monique translating. Thank you.
Olá, bom dia a todos e a todas.
Good morning, everyone.
Peço desculpa porque eu estou um pouco rouca.
She's just apologizing that her voice is not the awesome voice.
Tem sido bem extensa a agenda aqui na COP. Graças a Deus que eu estou aqui com vocês hoje para falar um pouco sobre a Rede Mães do Mangue.
She's thank God to be here today to speak about the Mothers of Mangrove Network.
Então, a Rede Mães do Mangue, ela vem organizando e um modo diferenciado diretamente com mulheres pescadoras nas comunidades costeiras dentro das reservas de extrativista.
So the Mothers of Mangrove Network is an organization around women organized all over the extractivist reserve that are MPA all over the coast.
Aqui no nosso estado do Pará, a gente temos 16 associações mães.
Here at the state of Pará, we have 16 local association, mother local association.
E nessas 16 associações, nós temos mais de 800 mulheres organizadas nas comunidades.
And in these 16 local associations, we have more than 800 women organized in these local associations.
E através dessa organização dessas mulheres, a gente começou a fortalecer o cuidado que elas já têm com a natureza.
And with these women mobilized, they started to trigger the careful that these women have with the nature.
E através do cuidado que ela tem, a gente percebeu que tem muitas formas de fazer com que a economia, a gente poderia fortalecer elas.
So she's just sharing that it's possible to conserve the nature and also enhance their livelihoods through economy.
A gente cuidando, as mulheres cuidando dos manguezais, a gente cuidando coletivamente uma das outras, a gente começou a trazer uma economia local, fortalecendo a matéria-prima que elas já têm.
So they started to improve the local economy through the nature-based solutions that already have in the nature.
E de que forma a gente fez isso? Através levando cursos de fortalecimento para elas.
So the way that we did was to bring capacity building to these women.
Para poder aproveitar o que estava sendo desperdiçado.
So they can use what was how to say desperdiciado, that was thrown away instead of reuse what was throwing away.
Através dessa matéria-prima, ela consegue fazer várias coisas, grupo de mulheres.
So this group of women, they can produce different things through these materials.
O grupo de mulheres trabalham com óleos,
They do oils,
trabalham com artesanato, com bolsas belíssimas, eu tenho uma ali.
art crafts like bags. She brought one bag over there.
A gente também trabalha, tem grupo de mulheres que faz a preservação dos manguezais, fazendo a retirada dos plásticos, dos lixos que o mar e o oceano traz até as nossas costas.
A group of women also clean the coastal zone with plastic that are coming from different places.
Porque essas mulheres também estão preocupadas com o meio ambiente que elas vivem, porque é dali que tira o seu sustento, então a gente precisa fazer várias ações dentro das nossas unidades, dentro dos nossos manguezais, para manter eles preservados e cuidados.
So these women mobilize, they take care about the nature because through the nature they take out their livelihoods and way of living.
A Rede Mães do Mangue está muito preocupada com as políticas públicas voltadas para as mulheres e principalmente o cuidado com a natureza.
So the Mothers of Mangrove Network is very caring about the public policy in terms of leveraging public policy focus on women and nature.
Por entender que manter manguezais preservados é manter comunidades também cuidadas. Um conecta ao outro. É dali que nós tiramos nosso sustento.
If you preserve the nature, of course, the community is going to be wealthy as well. So one is interconnected with the other.
Uma vez que os nossos manguezais e nossos rios sejam impactados, as nossas comunidades, as nossas mulheres, nossos pescadores também vão ser impactadas diretamente. E a nossa maior preocupação é manter o nosso alimento e a nossa economia saudável.
So they are more concerned about provide stocks for their food security and their way of living as well.
E é isso, gente. Tem muito mais coisa, mas hoje eu tô...
And that's it. There's a
Muito
lot
obrigada.
of things, but thanks for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Henushia. And actually, I can contest that the Mother of Mangoes is incredibly entrepreneurial, because last night I ate a menu of food that was designed by the Mother of Mangoes, and it was the best food I've had all week. So this is a very entrepreneurial, woman-led association. Well done. And I heard a lot of amazing things there. I just want to point out a few things. Clearly, the resilience of protecting those, the point of protecting those mangroves is actually preserving your livelihood. So it's not like there's an alternative being developed outside of the mangrove. They're actually relying on the mangrove for those products. So I think it's an amazing connection between this community and that region. And I also just want to point out that there is a purpose to scale up through public policy, which is an important final outcome for all of our work when it comes to resilient livelihood. So thank you very much for pointing out that solution. Okay, now we come to my next speaker, and we jump across the ocean to Africa. And I would like to welcome Efua Nyamekye. Good? Okay, who's representing Green Africa Youth Organization. At least that was easy. Welcome, Efua.
Thank you.
Efua is the coordinator for the Youth Climate Council and Energy and Just Transition lead at the Green Africa Youth Organization, and is committed to ensuring that young people play a central role in shaping energy and climate solutions. We're very grateful to have a youth representative here today.
Thank you.
So my question to you, Efua, from your experience, seeing how energy access can transform rural resilience, what components are most essential for ensuring that expanded energy access not only drives economic transformation, but also centers youth leadership and advances a truly just transition for rural communities? Big question.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll have a discussion about that because we're supposed to be interactive, right? When it comes to electrification and the aspect of coastal resilience and all that, it becomes tricky because I was talking to one of those communities and looking at how chaotic sometimes when the communities become busy or is electrified, the kind of pollution and distortion it brings to the community when you don't take care. People lose the kind of serenity. They lose the serenity in their communities, especially if it's a coastal community, when they get access to electrification and more people troop in. But like, let's get to the fundamentals. Africa is the least electrified worldwide, and 80% of these people without access to electrification are in rural communities. Why is this so? Because most of these rural communities in Africa are hard to reach areas. And in Africa, most communities don't have good road networks, so sending kind of infrastructure to those communities is quite hard. So we leave them like that. But then there are renewables. I'm talking about two different things. One, a very hard to reach community. For instance, in Nyomon is in Senegal, where we are working on rural electrification at. It is an island community. You have to travel on water over 8 hours to get to the community. So just imagine which government would be so bold. So they'll be promised that electrification is going to come to your community, but it will take a long while for it to come to your community. Then that's why renewables are like the mobile phones, like microgrids are the mobile phones of electrification nowadays. Because with the solar system that has come, you can just transfer this already modeled plug and play system to the communities with least stress. Then you don't have to bring a lot of poles, a lot of transmission networks that will stress the government. So that's what we've been working on, to take this kind of plug and play modular system to communities. But what is dicey is that these communities, although they want to protect the beauty in their nature, also need to develop. Yes, also need to develop. But how do they develop and have productive use if they don't have energy? We all know that energy are drivers of communities. For Nyomon, which is an island community, they have abundant oyster community, like a lot of oyster. If they harvest it, it just goes bad. They are not able to make any meaning out of it. The women in the community also farm rice. They can't mill the rice unless they travel for about 8 hours into the main city. So everything is kind of dicey. For these communities, renewable energy systems that is able to adapt to the disaster rates that they are prone with is very vital. That's why we work on rural electrification across Africa. And that's the first example. Then I go to Madagascar. One community that we are working on is Ambarata Bay. I traveled almost a day together, and we have to go on this kind of transport system that is, because it's hilly, and a normal car cannot even pass through the road to that community. How would this community survive? It's also an island community. How would they survive? How would they be able to make meaning out of their life? How would young people there have vision of a better tomorrow? So with these communities, if young people in the community have a vision to advance, they just have to move. So they don't retain knowledge in the community, they don't retain expertise in the community, because there's nothing there for them. If you want to have a meaningful livelihood as a young person, you just have to move to the city or move out of the country. So these are the main challenges confronting these communities that we are working with them to solve them. So let me tell you a little bit about the system we are working with. We are just actually demonstrating it now. We are using a plug-and-play modular system with battery energy management systems combined. And then instead of a diesel backup generator, we are using combined heat power systems. So biomass combined heat power system, because the communities, most of them are either having maize in abundance or rice in abundance. But then the waste from the maize and rice is just left there, and there's no productive use of it. So we use this community ways to also bring circularity into the system, that they can use their own byproduct from their agricultural waste to also produce electricity for them. Then let's come about how we co-create with the communities. For these things to work and for us to be able to make impact in those communities, we cannot do that alone. Looking at how far these communities are and the fact that you cannot stay there and monitor the systems every time. So for each community that we engage with, we are training 10 young technicians. So these 10 young technicians have been taken to South Africa, where our main plant is for the battery energy systems, that they are being trained how to maintain them, how to maintain microgrids, and they are being paid for their work in the community, so that once they are equipped with that skills, they don't have to leave to another community to use that skills there. So these are the kind of models that we are using in this community to bring productive use, enhance livelihood, and make it comfortable for them to protect the nature that they so love. Thank you.
Amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Wow. I'm completely inspired because we heard two great examples from Senegal and Madagascar, and definitely youth-led effort. The other thing that I was really, really excited about is, of course, there is a nature-based product, oysters, but they just need refrigeration. So how do we bring the electricity into that area in order to enable that? So that's a really wonderful example. And I think we must just confirm that a nature-based solution, if it's not nature, and in this case, solar is nature, right? It's it is a nature-based solution. We're using the power of the sun in order to enact a sustainable outcome, which is also providing a resilient livelihood here. So I think that's a really wonderful example. And I love the fact that you make this connection with exchanging in South Africa on the technology and building up the capacity of youth people. So it's very Africa-wide example. Well done. I like that. Okay, and to my next speaker. And actually, if I could ask the Resilient Hub, please can you bring a glass of water to each one up here? We're extremely hot and sweaty. Would be great. Thank you. Catherine Arroyo Arce. Welcome. I'm going to quickly introduce you, Catherine, Executive Director for Fundación Marviva. I hope I pronounced that well. Great. Catherine is the international law expert with a background in ocean governance and the Executive Director for Fundación Marviva, which works across Costa Rica, Colombia, and Panama. My question to you, Catherine, drawing on your legal expertise and your work at Marviva, how can tools like coral reef insurance strengthen financial resilience for coastal communities? And what governance or policy structures are most critical to ensure these mechanisms truly support long-term ecosystem protection and local livelihoods? It's a great question. Please, go ahead, Catherine.
Hola. Thank you. Thank you. Buenos días a todos y a todas. Thank you so much for inviting us to join in this wonderful, inspiring panel. So, yes, as it has been already demonstrated by my colleagues, reef insurance strengthens the evident relationship between healthy ecosystems and social and economic safety for local communities, especially those that rely directly on those ecosystems to conduct their economic activity, whether it's tourism, artisan fisheries, etc., but it also benefits indirectly the entire community. And towards implementing sound governance framework, out of my experience, we're actually right now implementing a project specifically in Costa Rica and Panama, not on parametric insurance, but we are empowering artisan fishers. How? By promoting and training them on the relationship between ocean change and climate change and how this is affecting their livelihoods. Number one. Number two, training the private sector, the insurance sector, so they have a clear understanding of this same relationship and what they can do actually to contribute to sustain the livelihoods of these communities. Third, promoting the education of local communities in terms of financial matters. So we are building with them and implementing insurance-specific and very special insurance products tailored specifically for the fishing community. We are addressing around 500 families in the two countries. And this was possible because the insurance sector is now aware that they need to provide better products tailored for the community. So because of this experience, we see the following items that should be present at a strong governance framework. Number one, we have to raise awareness, as I mentioned, and raising awareness implies defending the integrity of information. We have seen the necessity of addressing misinformation, of addressing fake news within this process. So that's new. We didn't have to face with it so much before, let's say 5 years ago, but now it is a core objective of our organization, addressing misinformation in different matters with local stakeholders. Number two, strong local governance. That means these processes flow better when we have well-organized communities, and organized communities following inclusion as a key criteria. So for us, throughout the implementation of this project, a priority has been for us identifying youth and identifying women who have the capacities, the leadership, they want to lead the process, they want to be spokespersons, and promoting that empowerment so they can engage better their communities within these processes. And that actually eases the process of building trust. It facilitates communication and communities' ownership of these processes. Number three, timely and meaningful public participation is not for us as organizations to, let's say, define the priorities in terms of where all the payouts of the insurance products is going to be focused. This has to be co-created. There has to be, of course, scientifically based, but it has to be co-created with the communities to ensure effectiveness of the agreed governance framework. Number four, of course, it would be ideal if the legal frameworks are updated. Why? So we can recognize ecosystems, coral reefs, mangroves, as natural capital and insurance assets. And this will certainly put pressure to the insurance sector to provide solutions in this regard. And number five, advancing in the development of economic environmental accounts. This is something where, specifically in Costa Rica, now there's certain advancement. We know we have measured the economic value of energy, of water. We're moving forward, understanding the economic value of mangroves. So this is important and very relevant information and a data gap in other places that should be addressed so we can inform better the insurance products that should be developed.
Thank you, Catherine. That's a fantastic example. Also, I'm actually not that familiar with it, so I really was educated by you today. I heard some really important points raised. The fact that you have to do quite a lot of awareness raising before you can even start to roll out the intervention, both with the private sector and the communities. And the fact that the insurance offer, the frameworks need to be updated that recognize natural capital value in all of those. There need to be more timely payouts to communities that are co-created with communities. And I totally agree. I'm sure these payouts don't come out fast enough for small-scale fishers who are quite invisible. And I really appreciate that you're doing quite a lot of work in those countries yourself. So apart from the legal side of things, you're actually running a lot of the awareness raising. So well done to you. Thank you. Okay. We're actually going to run a little over. I hope that's okay, Resilience Hub. Yeah. No. 2-3 minutes. Okay. I'll try my best. Next speaker, Antonio Kurkuv from Green Growth Africa. Welcome. My question to you, and first to introduce you, Antonio is the African Youth Climate Negotiator and works as a policy officer with the International Federation of Catholic Parochial Youth Movements, strengthening youth engagement and strategic action for sustainable and inclusive future. Antonio, my question to you, and we're going to have to be nice and sharp with this answer, okay? Drawing on your experience with coastal resilience and sustainable livelihood initiative in the Volta region, what did you learn about the most effective ways to engage youth and local communities in building sustainable and equitable coastal communities, coastal economies?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yeah. So my name is Antonio Kokuvi, just as you said, Kokuvi. Yes, and I have been working in the Volta region of Ghana for some time. So Ghana is a coastal community, and we have 4 coastal regions. That's the Volta region, the Greater Accra region, Central region, and the Western region. Now in the Volta region, particularly in the Keji community, what happened was that there was flooding, right? And so the people over there had to relocate. They lost their livelihoods, they lost their infrastructure, and so they were displaced. They moved to a different community, and because they were fishmongers, they continued to engage in that activity. So what did we do? We realized that during the activity, during the fishmongering activity during the fish processing, they were harvesting the mangroves to use in smoking the fish, right? And you know the hazards that come with smoking fish using wood and all that. The hydrocarbons that come into the fish, posing all kinds of human hazards and all that. So we decided that we would engage them, we would sensitize them on the health effects that come with smoking the fish, and so we provided them with clean stoves, and then also we provided alternative livelihoods for them. What alternative livelihoods did we provide for them? So we realized that if you give them skills, or you provide them with skills that really do not resonate with them, they are not going to use it. And so we decided to engage them, know what their needs were, and then we decided to build their capacity by helping them in the process of soap making. We trained them on how to produce some confectionery so that they can use that in the local community. So that's what we did. And then also we ended up restoring some of the degraded mangroves in the community. Why did we do that? Now, the reason why we ended up providing the clean cook stove was because the people were using the mangroves, as I said, and that was posing a lot of hazards to the people who were consuming the fish. And so that was the intervention we brought over there. And then also we decided to give them the alternative livelihood streams because we didn't want them to solely depend on the mangroves. We wanted them to also depend on these alternative livelihoods, which was the soap making and then the confectionaries, because we wanted to take their attention away from the mangroves that they were exploiting or harvesting. And so that's why we provided them with the alternative livelihood, so that it also improve their economic activities. And then with the mangrove restoration, we all know the importance of mangroves. Mangroves are able to sequester carbon. Mangroves serve as a habitat for most of the biodiversity species over there. And so, and also it protects the local community. And so that's why we did, and we believe that that really increased their resilience, it reduced their vulnerability, and also increased their adaptive capacity. Now, to the question, right, most of the people in the community were, of course, local people, and so we co-created the solutions with them. That was the first thing that we did. Through the implementation stage, through the monitoring, evaluation, learning, all those things were done with the local communities because we wanted them to own the solution. And so we co-created it with them. And then for the capacity building sessions, we ensured that the local communities really were the ones who were benefiting from the skills that we provided them, and they were going to use it in the days to come or in the future, so that at least it will build their resilience. Because if they are only dependent on the fishmongering activities, if they are dependent on the fish processing activities, there will come a time where fishing activities will go down. What then do? They can depend on some of these livelihood options. The third one was that we went to the local communities and involved the local stakeholders over there, because we believe that the local stakeholders, the traditional authorities, have their own culture. And so whatever it is that we do should be done within the context of the culture that they have over there, so that at least they will own it and then locally drive it. So those were some of the solutions that we provided, and we believe that these were interventions that really built the resilience of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antonio. Excellent example. I really appreciate that. I like the point about stepping in right after the floods in order to address the issues and realizing that we needed alternatives in order to sustain livelihoods, because people were obviously quite devastated by those floods. And I also appreciate the examples, the soap making and all of those. This is not common. You know, we don't often think that you can make soaps in mangrove areas, so I think it's really innovative solution brought forward. Thank you very much. I just want to close with another slide. If you could click across to the next slide, please. And I want to make a quick summary for today, because unfortunately we run out of time for questions for the panel. So I want everyone to give a round of applause. These excellent speakers on their solutions and amazing work they're doing on the front line for what sounds like could be in the hundreds of thousands of people in all of those locations. So I really appreciate the amazing work being done. I invite you all to scan the QR code, which is a report that we're launching here at Climate COP, which also advertises and the impact that Lavenia's Oceania First Voices is also talking to, and the Mothers of Mangroves work that's being done in the area. But we are talking across all the solutions, youth-led, women-led, and coastal community-led. And the report, and I just want to quickly summarize, is a call to action here at Climate COP. So, Climate COP presents a pivotal opportunity to drive ocean-based adaptation forward. And all of us, partners included, have just launched a new report, which is a blueprint for action that urges accelerated large-scale change from local to global levels. And this is what we're telling people to do. The benefits of the approaches that were talked about here today are profound and far-reaching. For individuals and communities, we want to see enhanced resilience, new livelihoods, restored dignity through participation and leadership. For businesses, we want to see stronger economies, reduced disaster risks, and progress towards climate and biodiversity targets. And for businesses, we want to see a sustainable opportunities in the sustainable blue economy. We heard of some great examples of climate resilient businesses in the blue economy, but the blue economy is accelerating beyond what coastal communities can offer, so they need to be included in the economy as well through participation and leadership. And for countries attending COP, we want to see stronger economies, reduced disaster risks, and progress towards climate and biodiversity targets. And the evidence in this report points to how to do that, including some of the solutions that were presented here today, and that those solutions deliver measurable gains in resilience, security, and economic well-being. Women's leadership, spoken about a few times today, microfinance and ensuring finance reach those communities, innovative insurance schemes are transforming the lives across all these continents, and we welcome you to promote and talk about the report here at Climate COP. Thank you very much. Great session.